Welcome back to my channel. I'm Traven, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at Akane Banashi, the best sports manga? I kid, of course, but Akane Banashi does fall into a lot of the tropes I see when I'm looking at sports manga or sports anime, and does so in a way that's remarkable because of its subject matter. So if you're not familiar, Akane Banashi is a manga series by Yuki Suenaga that deals with Rakugo, which is the Japanese art of storytelling. One of the things I find remarkable about this is the content, is the focus. Rakugo is about telling a story to an audience. It is a very old art form in Japan, one that I was completely ignorant of before reading this manga series, by the way. It's taught me so much, and that's another reason why it's a lot of fun to read. But this presents a problem, of course, because if your focus for your manga series that I'm reading and can't hear is storytelling, how are you going to convey that? I always find this such a fascinating concept when you have like a rock band in a manga series as your focus, or like this one with Rakugo. How do you present that? How do you show the excitement of being there in that moment and experiencing them telling the story? And I think that largely this does an excellent job of presenting that in a visual way. So oftentimes as Akane is presenting her story, you'll have the characters like in the background, like superimposed on her making some face like this, whatever she's doing in the moment. And, she'll be saying something rough and holding herself like this. And there'll be a guy in the back like doing the same pose, but it's this like rough looking guy. Or she'll be talking all sweetly like this, and there'll be a person in the back that like is representing the character that she is embodying in that moment. And it does a great job of showing that moment of like embodying a character as you're telling a story and using those voices. Something that I am very aware of and trying my best with two kids. When we read at night, you want to use the silly voices. You want to put yourself out there and do that to immerse yourself in the reading. So what is Akane Banashi actually about, other than the broad strokes that I've presented so far? So our main character is Akane, obviously, and she is the daughter of a failed Rakugo performer. So her father went for this one performance that would have earned him a certain rank, like a very high, respectable rank within the Rakugo community. And that year, the guy who was over the entire performance, over the tournament, for lack of a better word, failed everybody and expelled them and said, "You can't even do Rakugo anymore. We disavow you. You are done." And so Akane, who worships her father, she loves him, she sneaks and looks at him doing his performances, and she practices even as a child to mimic what she's seeing. She makes it her life mission to become this high-ranked Rakugo, to prove that that guy was wrong. She's going to use her father's Rakugo skills, the things that she learned because of her father, to ascend to the highest rank, and that will shut up that guy who expelled him. And I just think that that's such a compelling start to a story. Another thing that's really interesting with sports manga is the way that it's able to take a very simple concept or a sport and really break it down to where every competition or every meet, the characters have to learn something new. So one of my favorites is I Shield 21, which is American football, an American football comic. It's kind of an older one, but they'd go up against a team that was all defense, and they'd have to learn how to, like, what do you do to break through the line? Or they'd go up against a team where the quarterback, whenever he throws a pass, like, there's a guy who's always right where he needs him to be, and like how do you intercept the past, how do you learn to become better. And Akane Banashi does the same thing. Like, I've not given much thought to what all would go into a public, a live reading, a live performance of a story, but this does an excellent job of every new competition or every new event, every new performance that Akane does, she learns something a little bit more about Rakugo. At the start, she is just mimicking, she is just parroting back what others are doing, and she has to learn that you have to work the crowd a little bit. Maybe, instead of just going up there and reciting it like you've done a million times before, maybe you need to lead in a little bit differently this way, or emphasize something a little bit differently because the audience needs something new. For one story, she had to go and like research its history to change a little bit about what the story was really about, so that her audience, who in this one, she's performing a Rakugo that's like very popular and very well known, and so her audience is kind of like disinterested, but she finds the core of the story and tells it in such a way that it's like real, like it's older themes, its true meaning comes through. There are times where she like has to embellish certain things and like the audience isn't really getting it, and then like later it makes more sense because it's a performance within the performance. And so yeah, it's just, like I said, it's just wild the ways that they come up with like different little ideas, different little steps that she's taking to take these stories, make them her own, engage with the audience, and gain the notoriety that she so desperately wants. And like I said, it has some information in the back that's really cool, just like facts about Rakugo. At the back of volume 6, for example, they talk about Hall Rakugo versus like and new stories versus classic stories, and like what differentiates those different types of storytelling, how much of Rakugo is set or is steeped in tradition, and how much is like newer stories being produced like more in the modern day. In others, it talked about different different ways that people presented the different types of the different major separations of Rakugo stories and like what their purpose is. So it's very cool. Like a lot of research goes into this as well, and they put it into the book so that you can learn more about this art form. Akane Banashi volumes are routinely getting 4 or 5 stars from me. I would definitely recommend checking out this series. If you're a fan of sports manga, you get that same feeling in here of Akane like learning a new skill and going to the competition and overcoming her rivals, and that feeling of victory as she does something or learns something new, or that feeling of like defeat and grit as she has to recuperate and try something else. Or if you're interested in something that's a little bit offbeat and something that is going to give you a story that you've not seen before, give you a setting, a framework that you've not seen before, learn about Rakugo, it's another really good reason to read the comic. I think all the characters are very strong. Obviously, like the setup is good, but these different characters they bring in, they all have the distinct personality that you get like right away. The rivals and allies, different people that surround Akane, are all fully realized and a lot of fun to read. So I'd definitely check out the comic if that is something that you're interested in. As always, I hope your reading journey is going well, regardless of what you are reading. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so we can grow this corner of our BookTube community. And until the next one, take care.